The Spanish announce table.
Tom, it's Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow as of this recording. It is Wednesday, the 21st of November, 2018, the year of the new idea. Tom, what have you done since we last talked, and what are you going to be doing coming up for Thanksgiving? Without spoiling next week, obviously.
Yeah, so still engaged, right?
Oh, wow, that's longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the sound. The
Oh, wait. Yeah. Take two. What'd you say there again, Tom?
I said last week going into this week, still engaged.
What?
Right? She still is going with this.
God,
it's crazy.
She still hasn't figured
it out. And I'm not drugging her either, which is,
Are you not?
Some people thought, but I'm not really.
Not giving her the old, other than the old 1,000 milligram of my coxythrobin. Is that
right? Exactly.
Is that all it is?
That's all it is.
It's a wholesome family show here on the Spanish Announce Table, ladies and gentlemen.
As always, if you've listened to past episodes, as always. So we've been doing a lot of the wedding planning, checking out venues, things like that, trying to get a jump start on all of that fun festivities, because we're still, February 2020, but I think because even though it's February and that's kind of like an off season for weddings, the leap day thing is something that I think will be popular. So we're still trying to get venues locked down. We got a couple more visits with places tomorrow. Did a couple visits this past couple days. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. And then Thanksgiving, just going to do the whole, my parents are divorced, so mom in the morning, dad in the afternoon, and then Friday is her family. So that's kind of low key, because we kind of did Thanksgiving last weekend with her family. That's why I did the whole proposal thing, because her brother came into town from Omaha. And so we kind of did the birthday party / Thanksgiving, all that. And then Friday, we'll just kind of do another smaller, thing. Probably just going over wedding details because her mom's involved and things like that. So
how many of the details are, okay, Tom, and then you just stand here, okay? You just stand there and that's it.
That's what I keep telling her. But every time she's like, no, I want your input. I'm like, I don't. My only request is that the wedding and reception is in the same place. Other than that, I don't care. Yeah. Literally, I don't care. Everything else can be I don't literally have no desire or input. Doesn't bother me. But the only thing I want for sure is the wedding and reception in the same place. I've never liked the whole, okay, the wedding's over here, and now we're going to drive 15 minutes to another place, and then hopefully everyone finds it, and hopefully you find another parking spot. And then I have family that has some health concerns, so getting them up and down and moving around, just try to limit that as much as possible. So that was my only request. That is literally it. Everything else, I say yes. Just, yep, sure, okay, great, yep,
right.
Yep, I get, well, that's it, sure, yep, okay, yep, sure, yep. That's what I've been doing the entire time.
I like that. I like all of that. Yeah, so now we understand the one thing we can count on for sure that won't happen is that the wedding and the reception won't be in the same place. So
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, like one thing. What about you? What have you been up to, and what you got coming up for Thanksgiving?
Tom, I this weekend, actually Friday night, I thought nothing, right? I thought we didn't have any major plans over the weekend, right? Nothing crazy was going on. And my wife calls me. It's about 2 o'clock at work, going to get off at 4, right? She was like, hey, 2 of her friends, right? They want to go out. We're going out. And I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, yeah, we're going to go out to the Improv. We're going to go out to some bars in Westport, and we're going to party all night. And I'm like, all right, we're doing that, right? So suddenly, get home, get changed, go out, do all that. We went to the KC Improv down your neck of the woods down there. I don't know if you've been to a show down there. Super fun. We know one of the performers in the improv group there. Super fun guy named Lewis. So we did that. That was super fun. Went all around the Westport bars, Tom, and I can't remember half the names of them or even any other names of them because I was just kind of following the crowd and enjoying myself, but it was a good time down there. I mean, you can speak to this. It can get loud and rowdy down there in the Westport area.
Did you go to Insomnia Cookies, though?
We didn't, but we talked about it. My wife had been there before in one of her friends' bachelorette parties. They were down in that area and they had some Insomnia Cookies. And so I told the stories of Insomnia Cookies that we shared here amongst the Spanish Announce Table universe. Yeah, so we did that. Had a great and we also kind of back and forth with Crossroads since they're in close proximity. We went up to Up Down for a little bit. We still have some coins left over from David Hayden on the Tim and Tom episode when he dumped about 1,000 of those things on us because he's a good dude. Kayfabe, I don't know if we're supposed to tell anybody that he did that. Hey, it's who you know, right?
Perks of a podcast. You know what I mean? Perks of a podcast.
And then one of the big things about the weekend for anybody in this area here in the Kansas City area coming up was the Monday Night Football game. So we spent watching that, and what a game. I mean, this isn't a football podcast, but I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, that was intense. Nobody's ever scored that many points and lost a football game, so that was a weird, thing to witness. What a game. I've saw things that have never happened before that I've ever seen multiple times in one game. It was just, what is going on here?
And, the thing with that game in particular that I thought was interesting is, everyone thought both offenses were just going to run up and down the field. And they did for the most part. But how many defensive big plays were made, right? There was a strip sack. There was an interception for a touchdown. I think we even got a strip sack. It was the defense, even though, 50 points were given up. A lot of those were credit to the defense, either by scoring it themselves or putting them in a position where whatever offense it was at like the 20 or 10 yard line. So I was more impressed that the defenses were able to keep up for as long as they did. But good night. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, 6 touchdowns. The LA Rams, just everyone is awesome there. Marcus Peters getting that interception. I bet you that felt good for him.
I sure did, yeah.
And the Chiefs, 2 losses on the road, both by a field goal to, the Patriots, who are the Patriots, and the LA Rams, who could possibly be the best team in the NFC. So not horrible losses.
No. And I felt like they handed that one away at the end too. Had they Kareem Hunted, when they had a minute 50 left and scored that touchdown late, or had Skandrick pulled down that, was it Skandrick or was it Fuller? I can't remember who just barely missed that interception late in the game. Like a few things here and there. But that's any NFL game that's close, but,
Right, and there was a couple weird interceptions, like one interception that, went off the head or the helmet, and then that you do that 100 times. You do that on a Madden video game, and you say the game's cheating. You know what I mean? It was one of those plays. So, and then both field goal kickers missing extra points, things like that. It was a weird game, but it was a fun game. It was probably the game of the year so far, and
it was one of the best games I've ever watched, man. Just I heard the guys talk about this on the local radio that you've watched many games where, for whatever reason, the team comes back, or at the ending it was crazy and you go, oh wow, what a game. But if you think about it, you're like, well, man, the first 40 minutes of that game really sucked. But this game from start to finish, you were just like, what in the hell is going on in this game? It
was crazy. Yeah, it was a really fun game. I was glued to my seat watching it the entire time. Loved it. But but anyhow, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Well, we're visiting some friends who live close by. Some of my wife's long-term friends that we talked about. Going to visit their family. We're all going to have the two families have a big Thanksgiving together. We'll also be finishing this flooring over this 4 days that we have off, Tom. That's our goal, right? Finish the flooring that we've been working on forever, and tending to the newly acquired this evening, Tom, two new cats to the ranch.
Oh my goodness, look at you getting all the animals.
This was I got a call today and it was like, hey, probably gonna get some cats. And it's like, all right, well, and she's like, well, you got to get 2, right? Can't just get 1. Can't bring 1 here to 5. You got to have 2 of them, right? So she found 2 that had kind of been together, and we got 2 cats tonight.
What's their names?
Well, so our habit of naming after where they had been rescued from, right? We found one that was rescued from Independence and one from St. Louis. So we have Indy and Lewis in in the house.
Hey, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What part of Independence?
Cats. I have no clue. We got them at the same shelter. This is just like in
Oh,
their
you got
records
them
of
at the
where they were
shelter.
picked up.
Gotcha.
Right,
And then, okay, I understand.
Right, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we didn't go drive, find some cats, and grab them by the scruff and be like, "Come here, cat."
Hey, you never know.
Look at that cat. Yeah, you look homeless. All right. so yeah, that's our basic thing. And then, another big thing about the weekend, as we should be talking about, Tom, Survivor Series and War Games.
Survivor Series, yeah, War Games, Survivor Series. What'd you think overall of the two pay-per-views, I guess we're still calling them? What'd you think?
I still enjoyed War Games more, and we've talked about there's several reasons why that's going to tend to give it the nod to begin with, right? The odds are we're going to enjoy War Games more. But even that, I'd say I probably enjoyed the previous War Games better than this one, Survivor Series was good, but not, nothing to write home about. But that's anything with WWE anymore, it feels like.
I thought if you trim down the fat of what Survivor Series is, right? You don't put everything in there, and you just get to what the main points of the show were supposed to be about. I thought it was a great show, right? I thought Brock Lesnar, Daniel Bryan was really fun. I thought Ronda Charlotte was really fun. I thought even though there was really no story and no, reason to care, Seth Rollins Nakamura was fun. The men's and women's elimination matches were fun. But then, the other fillers I thought were kind of not needed. War Games, I agree with you. I think I like the first one more than this one.
Yeah.
Nothing was bad about it.
No,
There's
true.
nothing bad about it. It felt like, to me, the NXT War Games felt like the first show where it felt like WWE was involved, if that makes any sense. Like NXT's always, I know it's WWE, but it's always felt like Triple H's pet project. This one felt like a WWE show that they called NXT. It had some different type of feel to it. I don't know. I can't pinpoint like exactly what it was, but there was something where I just felt like, oh, this is a great WWE show, but this isn't an NXT show. Something was missing there, but I enjoyed it. Let me first clarify. I enjoyed it. Matt Riddle opening up any NXT show I'm going to be a fan of. So
yeah, I mean,
as soon as he came out, I loved it.
It was kind of a weird thing. It made a little more sense if you saw on any of the pre-panel stuff, the kickoff show panel stuff. Cassie Sono had come out basically claiming he's like, I'm going to knock you out in a second, right? So then out comes, here he comes, and then Riddle's, giving him the what for. So, I mean, now look, if this was a somewhat slightly lower than average NXT, well, then they're doing pretty well.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, for the bar that they've set, it's pretty incredible that they can keep hitting that mark each and every time. This time I thought they hit the mark, they just didn't exceed it as they have in the past. That's all I'm saying. I thought it was really good. I thought everything was fun. I thought Ricochet's dive off the top was incredible. I like Pete Dunne getting trapped in the cage for a little bit, trying to figure out a way, and the refs getting the crowbar or whatever it was. I thought that was good. There was a lot of good elements. And I like that Matt Riddle starts off the show because, all of those were either extreme feuds or title matches. So it kind of felt like, well, wait a minute, who would kick this off, right? Like you're cheapening the women's title match. If that kicks off the show, you're cheapening a blood feud like Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano. So it makes sense. Let's have a 4-5 second match. And Cassius Ohno sold the hell out of being knocked out. I thought he did great in the 5 seconds he was there. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I think the one thing that kind of stuck out to me that makes it feel just kind of like, okay, is that there really isn't anything like that was really furthered or any big moment that made you go, oh my God, what's going to happen next, right? Now it just feels like, okay, clean slate. Where are we going from here? Yeah.
It felt, I agree. It felt like a good, hey, all right, now what's the next step? I thought it was, like I said, very good show. I liked Velveteen Dream coming out as Hollywood Hogan.
Right.
That was great. I thought he was even great when he did the point and the big foot and the leg drop. I thought that was really cool.
You run the risk there, Dream, though, of starting to be shticky, right? You're going to have to do it, and then what is going to be, it'll be cool a couple times when you do Dusty and Macho, but then at some point, if you have a 15-year career, are you still pulling this out? We're going to be scraping you big boss man one time? Like, what are we going to do here, right?
Right.
Well, that might be kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, maybe.
You never know.
Yeah, let's do it. I like it. Yeah, Akeem. Is he going to come out as Akeem? That would be fun.
That would be funny.
All right.
So what did you think of Survivor Series?
It felt like how I felt going in. It's kind of like, all right, well, this is about to happen. And then after it happened, I was like, yeah, well, this happened. I just didn't really feel like anything. It was
what
weird.
What do you think about the big... Go ahead.
It was weird that Raw got the clean sweep, especially with SmackDown going in and the whole best in the world. And that just felt like a weird turn that I didn't expect.
Yeah, and I thought they kind of put themselves in a corner, especially with the Daniel Bryan Brock Lesnar match, right? So Daniel Bryan gets the big heat. He's the big bad villain, but he's going up against, and I mentioned this in the last episode, a big bad villain, the biggest villain and monster there is in WWE, Brock Lesnar. So it's, well, one, why do I care if we're saying this is real, right? They're both shitheads, so I hope they both double knockout lose. And
both
then
shitheads.
Right. And then if they lose, one's going to look kind of cheap. And even though Daniel Bryan lost, and I thought that was a really good match, I feel like they should have done something to keep him saving face, right? AJ Styles could have grabbed a leg, or someone's music could have hit and then distracted Daniel Bryan, or Braun Strowman tries to go out there to, get his hands on Brock Lesnar, ends up hitting Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan gets knocked out and loses that way. I thought a clean loss, even though, it'll be fine because last year AJ Styles lost clean and then he looked to be amazing after that. I just felt like there should have been something. It shouldn't have all just been clean like that. So that was my only criticism of that match. I thought it was really good, though. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't, hate it after it got done. I just kind of felt, I was like, kind of almost the same way I felt about War Games. I was like, yeah, well, that was good. Everybody did a good job. Nobody was particularly bad, I don't feel like. It was just kind of like, all right.
And then Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. First off, Ronda, I think, man, I cannot be more impressed with each time she's given the ball and said, run with this. She does it spectacularly. It is incredible that she can pick this up.
Yep.
Yeah, each and every time.
Yeah.
I think it's all hands on deck. I think when Kurt Angle was doing it, it was, hey, Kurt, sink or swim, but we got Rock, we got Triple H, we've got Austin, we got other people to take care of. I think with Ronda Rousey, and maybe I'm just guessing here, but it feels like, hey, everyone stop. We're going to make sure every detail of Ronda's match and promo is perfect. So, Vince, Triple H, Road Dogg, Adam Pearce, they're all working on it. Now, I could just be making that up, but that's my guess on Ronda Rousey and how far she's come in such a short period of time. But I also think she is talented. The only thing, my criticism with that, actually I have two criticisms. One, it felt like, so Charlotte's playing the role of Becky, right? Like the whole beating up and then snap thing. I was like, so this we're just literally doing the same match if Becky was here. And then two, and this is a kayfabe thing that really irritates me, is Charlotte put Ronda's neck in a chair and stomped on it.
Yep.
Now, if we're kayfabing this, holy shit, she broke her throat or her neck or something.
Right.
Windpipe. And at the end of that, not even maybe 3 minutes later, she's just walking up the ramp.
Yeah.
No stretcher.
Next night, cutting a promo.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Horse.
But no bruising on the neck,
Swollen.
nothing. And that's on Raw. But I'm saying the night of, no stretcher, no don't move, no X sign, because they love to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, really?
Yeah, if you can take a chair to the throat, what,
Yeah, that was the only thing where either the refs have to stop that from happening and then she can walk up, or if she's going to take that, in my opinion, that's a career ender type of move. You need to have her escorted out on the stretcher, or, make this look to be the worst thing to ever happen.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired of, well, hey, you know how we make someone stale hot again? They just go crazy.
Yeah,
go crazy, everyone.
Right.
It's starting to run thin on me. It's, Becky did it, and we had some reasoning behind it, right? She's the one that works hard. Charlotte's the one that gets, everything handed to her. Okay, I can get behind this one.
Yeah.
But Charlotte saying, like, I can't beat Ronda, so I'm just going to, beat her up against the rules. Yeah, okay. But I don't think the third time we do this with, fill in the blank, Naomi or whoever it is, I don't know if that one's going to be as good as the first. So I thought it was a good match. Like I said, Ronda killed it, but those two things kind of made me go, could have been better.
Well, you weren't alone, because we're going to go to the Twitter machine over here, Tom, and check out, if you use hashtag #TweetTheTable on Twitter, we'll chime in with some of the better ones here on the show right here. And one of our long-term friends of the show, at @B_double_D, said, wait, so now Charlotte is a heel that fights for the honor of Becky? What in the hashtag #TweetTheTable? Yeah, they just took a sudden weird turn. Again, WWE panics when something happens, right? An injury or a missed couple weeks here. They go, oh, man, we got to go, do this drastic thing with somebody we know. And it's just, they can't. No patience and no, like, I don't know. I don't even know the word I'm looking for here. But
they hold the course when it's something that they demand, right? Roman Reigns is face. No, Roman Reigns is face. Well, we don't want that. No, Roman Reigns is face. And we're like, fine, whatever. But this one, we're like, okay, well, let's see Charlotte as the face and Becky as the heel, or, Charlotte as her character kind of lost her way, and Becky as the badass, and we'll just see where it goes. Nope, now Charlotte's also the badass. And it's like, well, what now? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's very reactive. It's not proactive.
Well, and you were speaking of Ronda Rousey, and at The Ultimate One, I don't know if you remember this guy, he says, I doubted that Ronda Rousey would be entertaining when she first talked about joining the WWE, but it took to tonight to prove me wrong. Hashtag #TweetTheTable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I agree with that too. Like when she first came on, I was like, man, this is not going well. And we kept saying, like, man, they should have went with Shayna Baszler, right? Which is it was still light years ahead of her in the, heel department and the, just kind of mic work department, the believability, as it were. But yet Ronda Rousey has done nothing but improve significantly each time. I mean, there's still a bit there's still a little bit of the Roman Reigns nursery rhyme cadence to it, but she's getting much more comfortable.
Yeah, and some of the words that I think she's being told to say, I'm like, I don't know if anyone would ever say that. I remember I did a commercial in college, and I used the word however, and I was like, however, as a transitional word. And I remember my teacher was like, no one would ever say that in a conversation, and then this, and however. And I feel like I hear a lot of howevers in Ronda Rousey's promos where I'm like, I don't know if she would ever say that. I think, and hey, look, she has to remember 10 to 12 minutes of lines, it feels like. And so she's doing great. But some of the lines I wish she would kind of take some ownership on and say, like, I'm not going to say that because that doesn't sound like something I would say.
She's also the one going to have to be doing Radio Bro and every television and everything. So she doesn't have as much time to sit in the back memorizing the lines either, honestly. Yeah. So there's that too. Yeah. You also talked about Rollins, and at the Iceman Forever agrees with you, says Rollins is on another level, hashtag Survivor Series, hashtag #TweetTheTable. And Rollins is just, before he got injured, man, he was white hot, and that injury set him back as far as, say, a crowd popularity standpoint, but just, he's still just as excellent as he was then.
Yeah, and poor Nakamura, I mean, I feel like he's just getting lost each and every week. I don't know what they're doing. It's so upsetting to kind of look at WrestleMania, and he had a main event spot with AJ Styles, and now he wasn't even on SmackDown, I don't think. Like, if we fast forward to SmackDown, I don't even see that he was on there. And we have him losing clean to Seth Rollins, which, again, it's not bad to lose clean. I'm not opposed to that, and I think sometimes it's definitely warranted. But sometimes save a little face, right? Have Rusev cost Nakamura the match. Something.
Right.
It just felt like, that stinks. And one other note I was going to say about Survivor Series, think about this, of how deep the roster is for WWE. I'm going to mention these people's names, and either for injury or just lack of use because of storylines, these people weren't used. And it's mind-boggling who wasn't on Survivor Series. So, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper. Those are 5 guys right there that were not on Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Rusev. Lana. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's so many. Yeah, it's so many.
You could create a new promotion with those 7 people.
Mm-hmm. You could.
And they weren't even on this roster, or they weren't even on this event.
And this is what we talked about, and I sent you a thing. We didn't do like a news segment, but there's rumors going around, and now there's trademarks that have been pulled that point to maybe the owner of was it Jaguars that they said?
Yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Might be starting a pro wrestling company that's involving Rhodes and the Young Bucks and stuff, and we talked about that there needs to be a quality competitor that has money and entertainment connections, and business acumen, and that as somebody like an NFL owner would. You know what I mean? Like, because WWE just has everybody, and they got so many people that they can't even use them all. And it's just really, great for the workers. They're getting money, but like, man, this product has really just kind of gone stale.
Well, and it's great for us in a bigger picture, in the sense of, back in the Attitude Era, let's say 1998, before he actually did go away. But if Stone Cold Steve Austin gets hurt during the Austin McMahon storyline, man, that's a huge blow to WWE. Now, Roman Reigns goes out because of a real legit illness. So does Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Bray Wyatt's just not being used. AJ Styles, I guess, is renegotiating a contract. But he wasn't on the show either. And then Rusev. I mean, those 5 guys are not on the show, and we don't miss a beat, right? So we still get Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar.
I didn't even notice.
Exactly. Like, it was like, oh, that's great. But, man, you just named those people. And like you said, if this Jacksonville Jaguars guy, throws some money at it like Ted Turner did back in the day, maybe Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn does go to the Elite and hangs out with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and stuff like that. And,
Could be good.
It's just incredible. As I was watching, I was like, yeah, some of my favorite guys are not even on this show, and this is a 5-hour show.
Yeah. Well, here's what was on the show, and I think, it was on the kickoff show, and I think we like it there on the kickoff show, but at WIR Cata doesn't. He says, I wish a cruiserweight title match could actually take place on the main card and not always be relegated to the kickoff. Hashtag WWE Survivor Series, hashtag tweet the table. What do you think, Tom? You think the cruiserweight title should be on the main show?
No, I just until it gains traction with the storyline that people care about, right? Like, I get it's the one title on the one show, but I feel like 205 Live would be better served on the NXT Takeover shows, right? Mm-hmm. Put, like we said, there was 4 matches, 5 because the impromptu Matt Riddle, Cassius Ohno, but make the 5 matches and put 205 Live on the NXT Takeover War Game show. Why not? Why does it have to be on the main roster? It would be better served. It would get more time. The more indie smarks would pop hotter for it than the, general exhausted WWE fan. So I feel like it'd be better served on NXT Takeover shows.
Mm-hmm. I think you hit the nail on the head about it too. It's until that thing has a compelling storyline that anybody really cares. I mean, like, sure, some people probably care about it, but it's not moving the needle for WWE's purposes. And I really like that idea that you had with the 205 Live there. Remember, they used to do the NXT UK stuff alongside of the takeover. So, I mean, there's no really that model is already there. I like that idea. I would go with that.
Yeah, I would too. I feel like, you do, let's say it's 5 total matches. You do 2 NXTs, then in the 205 Live, smack it right in the middle of it, and then your 2 main event NXT storylines to close the show. I feel like that's perfect.
I like what you said there. You should always smack it right in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's always smack it right in the middle of it. I'm writing this down because that's a title candidate right there. I get right in the middle of it. And it is Thanksgiving. Later on in the show, stick with us. We're each going to tell you 3 things that we're thankful for about pro wrestling this year. Isn't that interesting, Tom?
I think so. We've kind of kept that as a tradition here on the show where we've said, themes of holidays. New Year's we do what we wish for, or resolutions, things like that. Or what we wish for is Christmas, and then resolutions are New Year's. And so Thanksgiving we do thankful fors, as it should be. And so that'll be a little bit later on in the show.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to take a break right now. But coming up shortly after this break, we're going to talk about the fallout of Survivor Series and the War Games. We've got the Raw, the Smackdown. Oh, before we go, I did have one more tweet the table pertaining to Survivor Series, Tom, that we forgot about, and I kind of a little shocked that we didn't bring this one up.
Let's hear it.
At Theo75 says, I give Enzo credit for showing up at Survivor Series. # tweet the table. And I don't, and I can't imagine that you do either.
What a thirsty bitch, right? You look like such a thirsty bitch.
Yeah.
And you thought everyone was going to yell with you your catchphrase that was cool 2 years ago. I mean, what's next? You're going to wear a starter pullover jacket and think it's still cool? Like, you're outdated. You're weird. You're a cokehead. Allegedly. Just go away, man. Go on the indie scene and make yourself relevant. Don't just say like, I'm hijacking this. Man, that doesn't work anymore. It's not that cool.
Have you seen some of the video out there where he's getting like snatched straight up out of the crowd, like the security guards just straight grab him?
And it was the same security girl or woman that stopped Rob Gronkowski. Yeah. So man, employee of the year right there.
Enzo's nothing. She was ready to de-Gronkify Rob Gronkowski, man. He was just going to be Rob Ski. And, I mean, like, Enzo, man, that dude was about to get eaten alive. What a dork.
What a failed attempt. And you just look so needy with the I'm doing great. Obviously not, right? They didn't come to you. You went to them saying, I'm doing awesome. Look at me. I'm going to do a fun catchphrase. Yeah. And here's the thing. Your catchphrase didn't even go over well in the section that you were in.
Yeah.
The people in the own section didn't even say it.
It screams of somebody who can't get over what happened is what it really screams of. Mm-hmm. And, when you hear the story and you find out for the most part, he was, sound like he was innocent of what was being charged of him. But the situation came down to, it sounded like they were looking for any reason to get rid of you at that point. And that's on you, man. Mm-hmm. So, it is what it is. You're not doing great. You weren't doing great. And, man, this was not a great choice either. So.
And let it be known for people, in the pro wrestling industry, when you leave WWE, you have two routes. You can go the Enzo Amore route and look like a thirsty bitch, or you can go the Cody Rhodes route and fucking make history, right? Yeah. So those are your two pillars. Choose wisely. And I just think, Enzo, if you were really about, being the greatest entertainer and yada, 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 you'd make an appearance at Ring of Honor. You'd make an appearance on Impact Wrestling. You'd make an appearance at New Japan or, fill in the blank. I know that his style wasn't the in-ring wrestler, so it may not translate to the New Japan crowd as well. But there's plenty of avenues that if you were really about this life, you could be making an impact.
But you for sure would not be on Spanish Announce Table Wrestling because we're not booking you. Ain't happening.
No.
Yeah, ain't happening.
No.
I mean, you can bring some chairs back.
Allegedly.
You might, yeah. You know what? I don't even want him in the building.
Yeah, get him out.
Anyway, we're done having fun at his expense. Let's move on. We'll take our break that we talked about before we got into that dork, and we will smack it right in the middle of it. We'll come right back, and we'll talk some Raw and SmackDown when we return to the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, Daniel Bryan is the only person to compete for a different championship at 5 consecutive WrestleMania events.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Tom, Raw and SmackDown, the fallout of the Survivor Series, which I kind of, out of the big 4, I'm going to say is the one I care about the least, right? And I probably would even say I care about Money in the Bank more. So my wife asked me the day after Raw that you went to. She realized Raw had been in Kansas City. She went, why didn't you go to Raw? And I said, well, we had just went on vacation. We had got these Jake the Snake tickets. When that was coming down, I knew, like, I don't know if I want to have another thing to plan and think about. And I just knew, I was like, this time of year is generally a stalling time for WWE. They've come off of their big summertime. Their big money time is January through April, right? Like they're hitting the Royal Rumble, the road to WrestleMania into WrestleMania. Right now it's generally like they're stalling while they're writing for the next big couple months. And I was like, so it's generally never like a huge stuff. It's a hodgepodge of like, hey, throw these storylines together and just kind of, wheel on until we get to the next thing. And that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of where, like the fallout to me is never really even a big deal, right? It's just kind of like we're just now going to start seeing the sprinklings of what they have planned to get us into the Royal Rumble, but we're not even going to really know what we're getting for Mania yet because they generally book that on the fly after Rumble. So it's really just kind of all right, here we go time for me.
It felt like at the end of Survivor Series, there was going to be fallout, right? They kept mentioning the clean sweep from Raw, even though on the pre-show SmackDown won, but regardless, they kept mentioning Shane McMahon tweeted, there's going to be changes that need to be made. On Raw going into Survivor Series, Baron Corbin could potentially be named permanent commissioner or permanent GM.
Yeah, I like that angle they did on Raw. Yep.
Well, going into that, right? But then after Survivor Series, it was like, nah. Baron Corbin goes, hey, can I be permanent GM? And then Stephanie's like, well, here's another hoop you have to jump through. Now you've got to beat Braun Strowman at TLC.
True,
it's like,
right,
then Survivor Series didn't matter, right? So they got a clean sweep, but for Baron Corbin, that still isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And I get that, but you know what I mean? Like, so in the bigger picture of things, Survivor Series did not matter.
True, right. It did not. No, I like how they played it where, she's just being, dirty, right? You're like, like she's just dangling the carrot in front of this guy, right?
Right.
So there is some of that. They can kind of stall and play away with some of that, I think. But nobody. Oh well, yeah. I guess I don't know the angle they're going to go now that Braun's out. I'm using air quotes for those with the live radio. We got to start doing this. We can stream this to Facebook Live at some point. We're going to have to do that maybe sometime after we get more comfortable with this. But I don't know what they're going to do.
On SmackDown, he sold his injuries, right, from doing the coast to coast and all that. Yeah. But he just giggled the entire time when Miz lost that weird tag match. So there was no hellfire and brimstone of like coming down for losing all those matches. It was just like, okay, well, we're just gonna keep on moving.
So now the injury we're told with Strowman is not the legit injury. There's like a legit nagging injury, I guess, and this is we try not to go into that, but I'm trying to get back to the storyline by talking about this. So I don't think it's going to be as long as what a shattered elbow really would be, right? I mean, that's going to be a long term. You know what I mean? If you shattered your elbow, geez, man,
done.
I mean, yeah, it'd be a long time. And so, of course, they're going to play into that, right? Braun Strowman, oh my, such a monster, came back in whatever time. But does he still make what'd they say? It was when did he have to be? Was it Rumble?
Yeah. No, he has to make TLC.
TLC, that's what it was. TLC.
To take on Baron
That's what
Corbin.
I thought. It was sooner than Rumble. So yeah, does he make it? I mean, are they still going to play that angle?
I don't know. We'll see. But I feel like if they made the match, they're going to fulfill it. Oh, you never know anymore.
Yeah, because they knew what they were doing that night, right?
Right. And they said that at the start of that night. So unless something happened in between that promo and then them doing the elbow thing, I don't know. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes moving forward. But yeah, in regards to Survivor Series, it was just like you had some things that you could build on, and everyone just went, nah, we're just going to keep going with something else. And so it was kind of anticlimactic. I didn't really – the only thing that actually was built on from Survivor Series going into Raw or SmackDown is that people still made fun of Drake Maverick for pissing his pants. That was it.
But what is? I mean, I don't know how I feel about that one. I mean, I guess it's good. It's good to make a guy unlikable, I guess, and you know, what I mean, it makes him.
But the picking on thing, I thought we weren't bullies, right? Wasn't that the be a star, don't bully, and that was all the baby faces bullying him.
It's easy for him to then go, okay, LP, go beat him up, but I'm kind of be like, yeah,
I would too.
All right, I'm gonna be like, yeah, AOP, go show him, right? Don't beat up my little brother. Stop making fun of my little brother.
It just shows you that whoever's in charge is still in the 1980s way of booking, right? Because you could do
piss his pants.
Well, because you could do the piss his pants thing, right? So this is how I would even do it.
Okay,
you could do.
We get T-Mac fixes it.
Yeah, so he pisses his pants. Big Show. Anyone in that moment would go like, "What the hell?" and just leave him alone. That distracts, I think, Cesaro. Cesaro gets pinned, right? But then on the next night, you have Drake Maverick almost like being pissed off that no one pissed off, pun intended, that no one's bringing it up, right? So he is in the back in the catering, and they're like, "So what'd you think of the show?" And he, Drake Maverick asking, let's just use Rhino and Heath Slater, right? And they're like, "Oh, it was fine." He's like, "So what'd you think about me?" He's like, "Hey, things happen. Yeah, things do happen, man. And if you got something to say, I'll kick your ass." I'm like, "Hey, man, easy." Like the baby faces are like, "Hey, things happen. Big Show's a big dude. He's scary. It's okay." And Drake Maverick starts bullying him like, "You little son of no, I don't care what you say. Anyone could have done that." And he like over exaggerates and then gets himself into a bad situation. And then the AOP beats him up, right? So you could have had the baby faces still been like, "Dude, it's totally cool. You're 3'2". He's 7', 500 pounds. He was grabbing you by the throat." Everyone would have been scared. And he's like, and then Drake Maverick was just like, "No, you're a dick. You would have pissed your pants too." He's like, "No, I wouldn't have." "Yeah, you would have. I'll make you piss your pants. I'm gonna have the AOP beat you up." And then boom, there you go. Then you can do your match. But you don't have the baby faces laughing and pushing on them, and like it was like a schoolyard, fifth grade bullying, and your whole campaign of be a star. Well, if Chad Gable's your fun baby face, that doesn't look like be a star. So it just
it came off wrong.
Yeah. The cool thing in independent wrestling across the board, and what makes it relevant more so than it ever has, in my opinion, is that they tap into the countercultural, liberal, cool progressions that are happening, and they make the old things that were stupid, or the old things that were heelish, and they make them babyface, right? So they're not doing that with WWE. They're still doing the, if you pee yourself, you are the idiot and you're the bad guy and we laugh at you. When really, if you pee yourself, hey, things happen, man. Let me tell you a time when I had this accident here, blah, 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 blah. And I just feel like WWE is like 1980s when it comes to just their writing of storylines. Like, if someone like Goldust would still be booked as that heel when in 2018, Goldust would be a babyface, right?
Yeah,
like the way he, is portrayed. And so they just, I don't know, they're out of touch.
All right, well, let's move on here, man. One that stuck out to me too was Ambrose Rollins. What'd you think of the whole, running long overnight? I mean, it's something they've done before, right? Come find me, and the guys always just kind of a step ahead. But I liked some of Ambrose's moments, right? The calling out the Roman thing, that was a pretty iffy move to say like, oh, he got what he deserved from God, basically, because and kind of that it's a little bit better even than when the one night in Milwaukee was dropped. It's that like, oh yeah, everybody loved us, man, but we weren't good people, right? Like,
yeah.
Ooh, what?
Right. I liked it. One thing that really irritates me about the IWC is we missed the Attitude Era when things were crazy, and then they do one lukewarm thing. Hey man, you're not supposed to say that. It's like, well, what are you wanting? Are you wanting us to do the extreme, big boss man hanged from a Hell in the Cell, or are we just doing Lucha House Party? Like, pick what the fuck you want. And if we try to blur the lines, don't get fucking pissed and create hashtag cancel WWE or whatever it is, because they push the envelope a little bit.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Remember, Randy Orton said that Eddie Guerrero went to hell after he died. He said that to Rey Mysterio. Remember that?
I remember that. It was like,
so it's okay, right? And let's stop acting as if Roman Reigns has died. He's alive. He can voice out his opinion and say, hey, on Twitter, if you wanted to, like, hey, Dean Ambrose, what the fuck? Or,
lay off,
whatever he wants to say. Yeah,
bro.
I'm not a part of this. And then we could be like, okay, hey, let's take a adjustment to this going forward. But he's not saying anything. And so we're assuming, in breaking kayfabe here, we're assuming he's all right with it. And that it's been cleared because those two guys, are pretty close friends. So I like it. And if we're going back into the storyline, because again, in the story of Jesus, someone has to play the devil and someone has to do the bad things. And that's what has to be done sometimes. Not everyone can be running the PC fucking line and be like, no, everything's fine on both ends. There's no friction. Stupid. Nothing happens with that.
Hey, what about she's still not good. But I like that they're having Nia Jax play into the punch, right? And she's, playing in the fist, and she's just kind of like, all right. Like, because that's what she should be like. Hey, the Big Show, before he just overused it and it was worthless, but hey, look at me. Like, one square, my fist is big in your face. Like, I just half speed punch, I'm going to knock you out.
Well, I just like that they leaned into it, right? So remember when Steve Austin broke his neck and the next night Owen Hart wore a 0-3-16, I just broke your neck?
Yes.
That's what you do. Like, you go into it. And Becky's fine, big picture I'm talking about. She's fine. She's going to be coming back, in due time. So, yeah, lean into it. Now, I still think we're seeing Nia Jax way too much. There's too many segments with Nia and Stoneface Tamina. We need to fucking pump the brakes on pushing that as much. But if you're going to show her, let's lean into it. Because that's the only time she's really getting boos is because we're like, hey, you really fucking suck as a person, And that's good heat, right? Eventually, hopefully someone throws a empty plastic cup at her or something, Let's get back to the real fun of the Attitude Era, throwing shit at people.
Right. Okay. Let's hit hashtag tweet the table and bring up at Katie the First Lady. So it's at Katie1ST Lady. So are the New Day the go-to team for holiday themed matches? Hashtag Trick or Street Fight. Hashtag Thanksgiving Feast Fight. My money's on a hashtag Miracle on 34th Street Fight come Christmas Day. Hashtag Tweet the Table. Yeah, man. Of course. Well, because the New Day's the go-to for any gimmicky, weird nonsense that's just filler and like a, pump up the crowd fluff.
Yeah, I think they've built up enough goodwill to where we get it, right? Like, they've done enough consistently great things in their body of work where they do this stuff now, and it's like, well, that's okay, because we remember the good old days. You're stale. Apparently, no one has to leave this group or wants to leave this group, so we're going to keep trotting you out there. It stays consistent with who they've always been. So it's not like a break and like a, wait a minute, what? Now you guys are doing this stuff? But yeah, someone has to do it, so might as well be them.
Yeah, and then, Charlotte goes out and beats up both of the Iconics, like beats them up, and then...
I showed you this tweet. I think I sent it to you. Let me try to find it real quick here. Becky Lynch, yeah. So... Charlotte does her best Becky Lynch impersonation, right?
Right.
And on Twitter, someone tweets at Becky Lynch. They said, "Is the man going to make an appearance tonight?" At Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch says, "I think I already have. Got fined $100,000 and beat the Iconics apparently."
Yeah, and that's so fun.
Charlotte is just being Becky Lynch, and guys, stop that. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop making your thing our thing. Like, you got away with it once with Daniel Bryan, right? Where that was our thing. You didn't want it to happen. Eventually you gave in. You made your thing our thing. And it all worked out. It was a great marriage. But this is too blatant. We want Becky Lynch. We love Becky Lynch.
So you brought that up. And at B_double_D also chimes in with a hashtag tweet the table. By the way, you listening at home can play along. Hashtag tweet the table on Twitter. And I might be talking about your damn name. At B_double_D says, so the crowd begs for years for heel turns by Cena and Reigns, who are the WWE's choice as the man. But who they turn? They turned Daniel Bryan, who was the one crowd choice as their man. Weird. Hashtag tweet the table.
Yeah. I liked it a little bit because I feel,
well, that's
the Yes
past.
movement.
The Daniel Bryan, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, the Yes Movement, as great as it was and as fun as it still is to do, that was 2015. We're going into 2019, right? And we always say stay ahead of the curve. We like our product to be proactive, not reactive, as we talked about in the first segment. So a heel turn Daniel Bryan, of the two, I think between him and AJ Styles, I would have preferred Daniel Bryan to go heel because we've seen AJ Styles go heel. That's pretty cool with the Bullet Club, the Rubber Band Club, and they could do that again, right? Beat up Daniel Bryan instead of beat up John Cena. They could do that again and yada, yada, yada. But we hadn't seen Daniel Bryan go heel since before his first world title win over Big Show, in 2014 it was. So this was good. And man, in my opinion, he hit a home run with this Raven meets the Yes Movement meets Pearl Jam, even flow, fucking weird third person talk stuff. I thought it was great. I think going forward, he can knock this out of the park. He's creepy. He's weird. He looks weird. So we're playing into that already. I think it's great. I like it. I agree with BDD where it's saying like the one guy that we said don't do this to, they did it to.
Right.
But in the bigger picture of all the guys available, because Kevin Owens isn't available, because Sami Zayn isn't available, I felt like it was okay for him to do that. And he did great.
Yeah. One other thing at B_double_D had to say on Twitter also was Randy versus Rey Mysterio. I literally couldn't give less of a shit. # tweet the table. And I couldn't even give lesser of a shit, man. I just don't.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree in this regard.
It's not good.
It was kind of cool to see Rey Mysterio lose his mask and the heel raise it up over his head as he walked away, right? Like if I write that down on paper, say, hey, you know how we're going to end the show? All-time greatest ever luchador Rey Mysterio loses his mask to a heel as the heel walks away. You'd be like, okay, I can buy into that. Mm-hmm. The thing where it's lost, and again, Smackdown, I think it's the best show on television. Still to this day, I think it's the best show on television in regards to pro wrestling. However, we need to get away from these old, reliable people, right? It would be cool if Lars Sullivan made his SmackDown debut and took the mask of Rey Mysterio, right? That's a huge impact. We're throwing this guy right to the main event picture. What can he do? We're going to find out. It's new, it's fresh, it's cool. But Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton, as I mentioned in the Dean Ambrose segment that we talked about, they were feuding in 2006, 12 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And it was very similar to you suck, I'm better, I'm going to make your life hell. Man, come on. That's where it gets lost on me. If you do the perfect way, in my opinion, that you mix this great, established talent is you mix them in with the youth, right? Like CM Punk got his biggest name outside of WWE in a storyline with Raven. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, that's how you do it. You mix the old with the new. And you don't have to have the changing of the guard each time, right? You could have the old hand, the old lion, beat the young lion and establish, more credibility. But stop doing Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton. It's like we've seen this for so long. Mm-hmm. Shane McMahon, Randy Orton. I don't care. Miz, Kofi Kingston. No. We have to have new infused talent. If you're going to move this talent up, stop just moving them up, have them do one thing and then run away. Stop with the old and the old. Mix the old with the new. That's what I like. I like the storyline, just not the participants.
I like it. At Chris Mercado 23 says 2018 is the year of pro wrestling and hitting people in the dick. Nakamura, Daniel Bryan, and now Dean Ambrose # tweet the table. Well, 2018 is the year of the new idea. Wasn't 2017 was the year of pro wrestling, wasn't it?
Well, every year is the year of pro wrestling. Well, every year is really the year of pro wrestling. But
That's right.
Yes, it is the year of the new idea. But
And
we'll also say pro wrestling.
apparently the new idea was hitting people in the dick.
Yeah. You know what you're going to do?
Hit
You're
people
gonna
in the
have kids-
dick.
Well, you're going to have kids kicking people in the dick. Right?
Yeah, we can't do the curb stomp, but
Kick them in the dick.
kick them in the dick. Punch
Kids
them
are
in the
going to know
dick.
that works.
Kansas City cunt punt. Just
There's
bam.
a compilation. I think I sent it to you. There's a compilation of AJ Styles and his entire career just getting kicked in the dick repeatedly from like TNA to now. It's hilarious.
Hey, at Hallmark of Swede. Remember this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Who we think is Ty Dillinger. We're not sure, but we think he might be. We think he definitely might, possibly, absolutely is. Hashtag tweet the table allegedly says, hashtag I've been on the bandwagon since his first match in his current gimmick, still love him. And he included a tweet, like a link to a tweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I was like, well, who's he talking about, right? Because I just pulled this up on a spreadsheet that automatically populates because I live in the future. And it goes back to August 30th, 2015, that Hallmark of Swede tweeted, hashtag tweet the table. I want to see more of the Drifter, right? And then he called him Elijah Sampson. And WIR Cata chimes in and says, Elias Sampson. And Hallmark responded, yes, exactly. Right? So, but, hey, I mean, back then he was saying, I want to see more of this guy. And he's definitely seeing more of him now. What are your thoughts? Have you enjoyed the rise and where we're at now with Elias? Or is it just still kind of like Elias is here for you?
I think I still feel the same way as I did a few weeks ago where I said Elias is Val Venus, right? Like we're going to look back on this generation of wrestlers like we did in the Attitude Era. And I can tell you that Val Venus showed up. He did some cool things. I can't really tell you any stellar match that he ever had. I can't really tell you a huge feud that he had other than that one time when Kai and Tai tried to chop his dick off. But other than that, he was a mainstay. And that's how I feel with Elias, right? So he shows up, walk with Elias. He has some cool songs. He plays his guitar pretty cool. But it's a lot of sizzle, no steak, as I say. And I feel like it's fine, right? I like to do the walk with Elias, and I like his little guitar solos and his fun songs ripping down the city or his opponent, whatever it is. But I don't think we're ever going to go, did you see that one Elias feud with him and fill in the blank? Or did you see that one Elias match where he main evented and had a 5-star match with fill in the blank? I don't think we're ever going to say that. So I feel like Elias is in the perfect spot where he should probably stay his entire career, just as Val Venus did, right? As a mainstay, but that's about it.
I like that. And I guess the last thing I think about over the Raw and SmackDown is the Miz Shane deal. Where are we going with this? What do you think this is going to be? What do you want out of this?
You know what I guess? This is what I'm guessing. I think we teased that Shane is going to go heel, right? With the best in the world, undercutting Miz, people kind of like bullshitting. I think he may revisit the Survivor Series getting blanked on the main show, 06. And so I feel like this is what I'm guessing that they're going to do. I'm guessing that they are going to go Shane heel, Miz slow burn babyface. After this feud, Miz goes on top as the babyface, beats the heel Shane, and then Shane and Daniel Bryan align to take out the babyface Miz. And so then we're going to have a WWE title match with WWE champion heel Daniel Bryan versus babyface Miz. And that's what we're going to get. We're going to get the feud reignited, but with roles reversed.
I like it. I like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. The Miz face thing is just
it's never gonna work. But that's what I think
it's throwing me for a loop. I just don't know.
He's a prick.
Yeah,
we like to boo him.
Yeah, you want to hate that guy. I like him. I like the Miz a lot because like I remember watching him when he was on the real world thinking like, hey, that guy's cool. He's a wrestling fan, right? Automatically more cool points. You might not be cool, but you get a little more cool points, right? There are definitely a lot of you out there that are not cool, but you have more cool points than you would because you're a wrestling fan. So, but I like him. But I want to boo him when I see him. I want to, like, he's got a punchable face. He's so successful. He does what he wants. He achieves his goals. You know what I mean? Like, he just, nobody likes that. You know what I mean? Nobody likes that.
The only way I think a Miz type character keeps getting cheers is if he doesn't change, right? So if the circumstances around him change, but he doesn't. We can't make him sympathetic. We can't have him getting beat up 3-on-1. Because, fuck that guy. But if he can be this delusional, like, I'm still the greatest in the world, like, dust myself off, look at me, I got Gucci shoes and stuff. You're like, this lovable loser. Like,
you know what?
If you can do the lovable loser thing, that gets cheers. But if you want to make Miz babyface, all-American guy, no, just like you said, he has a punchable face. He talks weird. He has a doughy kind of body. I'm gonna fucking hit that guy. I don't like him. I don't like the way he talks.
It's got to be something different, and I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe that's a homework assignment for you there, Tom, to figure something out. But how could you turn Miz without making him just something completely different that he isn't? But Miz has been in this a long time, so if somebody you would think would pull this off should be able to pull it off. Now, he hasn't ever really had like a meaningful big face run. You know what I mean?
Well, remember they tried to do like he's going to be Ric Flair's protege, and he started doing the figure 4. That was fucking stupid. Like I said, if you're going to do him babyface, make him the delusional slapstick. Yeah. He just ends up falling into a victory kind of babyface.
But to me, that's not something like if you want to do a credible, right? Like a guy that they were like,
you can't. Not with him. No.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I just don't know.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, all right. Well, you got anything else that stuck out to you, man, before we take a break and come back and talk about, what we're thankful about?
I miss Becky Lynch.
Yeah, well, more on that in the next segment, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah?
Yes.
Segway. All right, Tom, we're going to take a break. We will come back, and we're going to each tell you what we're thankful for in the wrestling world this year, 2018, the year of the new idea, when we come back to the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, Charlotte was the first woman in WWE to main event Raw, SmackDown, and a WWE pay-per-view.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tim.
Thanksgiving is tomorrow, right here in the U.S. of A. The best dirt in all the world, better than any other dirt. So good, we should surround it with a tall wall. Not Paul Wall. We're not going to surround it with Paul Wall. Remember that guy?
Bunch of grills.
Grills, right? Yeah. Now maybe we surround it with a bunch of grills. Maybe we consult with Paul Wall and we build a tall wall of grills, y'all. And we will we'll all give thanks then, right? Because that's what we do here in these American states that are united. Tom, we discussed our plans earlier in Thanksgiving, so we've got that out of the way. But there comes a time in those festivities where everybody gives thanks, right? Often, right? Most people say, what is something you're thankful for, right? It's Thanksgiving. What is something you're thankful for? And you go, I'm thankful for, Steve's heart, held up this year, right? It didn't tick out when they said it would, right? Or whatever it is, right? And my apologies to any family members of Steve out there. Or maybe not, congratulations, Steve. It sounds like everything went well. But, Tom, this is a wrestling show, right? We're sitting around our wrestling Thanksgiving table, right? It's just us because we've got no friends. Right? Well, our Tweet the Table friends showed up, had a bite to eat, but now they've gone. Right, and we're left, and we're gonna get ready to do the dishes. But I went, Tom, I forgot to ask you, what are you thankful for this year in wrestling?
All right, well, I will start it off. I am thankful for the best wrestler in 2018. Now,
yes, I like this.
It kind of started a little bit tongue in cheek with the puns and the funny. Promos. It got a little bit silly, but it was still good. And the in-ring action provided by this wrestler was still on par or better than their contemporaries. But then this wrestler made a change, and now this wrestler is the hottest thing going in all of pro wrestling.
Nia Jax.
I am speaking about
Bobby Roode.
Straight Fire.
The Miz.
The Last Kicker. The Man.
The Man. Woo!
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
I cannot believe how great she is. She is exactly what you needed in 2018 with the women's movement being pushed to the forefront. You needed someone to captivate both the male and female audience, not just one and alienating the other. I feel like with her grit, determination, her storyline that everyone can buy into, I have to work twice as hard for everyone or to get what everyone gets that just comes to them. I feel like her in-ring work has always been on par or better than her contemporaries such as Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Natalya. And her promos, and then also in the year of 2018 where social media is king or queen, however you want to say it, she is killing it on there as well. She is so awesome. I am so thankful for the reemergence, the star that is Straight Fire, the Man.
Straight Fire, the Man.
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. Tom, I told my wife the other day, I said, by the way, wife. I grabbed her. I said, wife. Slap shit out of me. No, I said, hey, man, the hottest thing. She's, quasi interested in some wrestling stuff because of Total Divas, right? She doesn't watch wrestling at all, but loves the Total Divas, the Total Bellas, all that, and knows the Miz and Mrs. and all that. So I said, hey, the hottest thing going in wrestling right now is an Irish woman. And she was like, an Irish woman? And I was like, yeah. Her name is Becky Lynch. She was just like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I could see she was kind of like, and I was like, I don't think you understand the gravity of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't forced. It wasn't.
It's organic.
It's been organic. And what has shocked me the most out of this, because I think if we rewound it back to when we realized they were going, kind of with Becky Lynch in this manner, at the very start of it, I was like, I don't know that she's going to be able to pull this off. And holy crap, was I dead wrong. The swagger and the confidence and the just complete, just like likability of it all is amazing. She's, as you said, the best thing in 2018 is Becky Lynch, and it's great. And the best part about it is calling herself the Man. I mean, it's just so great. I mean, it just flies into everything. It's just like, what? I'm the Man. What are you gonna? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's a mindset. It doesn't have to deal with sexual orientation or gender. It's a mindset. When Ric Flair said to be the man, you have to beat the man, he wasn't saying, but women disregard this statement. I'm only speaking about the male roster. No, it's the number one person in the corporation or the organization. And what I also like about... Ladies. Yeah.
Take back and the thing that the broader term, the Man, to represent humanity. All right.
Right. And what I like about her storyline is it doesn't alienate one gender over the other, right? It's not like, well, I'm a woman and I can do everything a man does, and I put my hands on my hips, and that's that.
Yeah.
Well, because that's off-putting to someone who says, like, cool, you're just doing what I do as a man. Like, that doesn't make you better than me. What she's saying is, I'm beating everyone's ass. I'm working harder than you. I'm doing this better than you. And more people like me than you. So suck it. And you go, well, like, damn, that's she's legit.
Right.
Like,
she's the man.
That's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing that we can all get behind, where it's, I'm working harder than everyone. I'm the first one here. I'm the last one to leave. I'm, competing every night with bumps and bruises and aches and pains. I'm going in there and I'm beating the best in the world, and Charlotte and Sasha and Naomi and all these girls. And I'm blowing up on Twitter. I have 10,000 retweets or 100,000, likes or whatever it is. And you go like, well, I can't dispute that. It's not a gender thing. It's an individual. I'm the best. And we all say, like, concede and go like, yep, you're right.
That one stuck out to my wife when I was like, she calls herself the Man. She was just kind of like, oh, and like kind of took that one weird. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, and it's great. And it comes off wonderful. Like, everybody loves it. And she was just like, And I was like, yeah, you know what? I feel like it's almost like it reminds me of Razor Ramon. It's the oozing machismo, right? Like, she's just got a strut and like I am the coolest. I'm the fittest. I'm the most badass. I'm just the tits. I am the man, right? Like, it's just everything.
Yeah, it's just the swagger of, you know it, right? You know what it reminds me of a lot of, too? Now, she's more boastful and in your face about it, but, like, remember Ken Griffey Jr.'s bat swing when it just looks so effortless, right? So he just hit a home run, and you're like,
right.
God damn, that motherfucker right there.
Or a Steph Curry half-court shot where you're just like, what? The guy was, you know what I mean? He was looking at his knee. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just incredible how effortless she makes it look with the retweets or the replies or the matches. You know, the last woman standing match was maybe the best women's match of all time. Now, credit Charlotte in there too, right? It takes two to tango. Like, you have to have a good partner in there as well. And Charlotte, to her credit, has been consistently amazing, right? So you go back to her feud with Paige, her feud with Sasha. Now, you know, I don't think it was intended for her to get the boos that she got before she snapped against Ronda, but, you know, she's playing her part well too. She didn't get lost and like drowned it out by the boos when she was giving her promos and stuff. So credit to her. She's also doing amazing work. But like I said, I am thankful for the last kicker, straight fire, the man, Becky Lynch.
All right, then, let me tell you a little something I'm thankful for here, Tom, with the wrestling this year. And it's what I feel is an attempt by the WWE, right, to have longer, deeper storylines in their writing. And I don't know if you've noticed this. They're not necessarily hitting the mark on good ones all the time, that I think, but there definitely is an attempt. There was that one night in Milwaukee attempt, this Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins thing, the Samoa Joe, AJ Styles thing, right? Like, there just feels like there's a little bit more into it. Maybe they hired some better writers recently. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, they definitely haven't hired me, so they haven't hired the best.
The best. Hashtag hire T-Mac.
Yeah, but they are doing a little bit more. Yeah, and I agree. There is a little bit more attention to detail. Now, saying that, you know, we'll see how Survivor Series plays out, but it feels like they've just kind of forgotten about that storyline. Also, you know, the Brothers of Destruction and DX were a mainstay for like 3 weeks, and now no one says a peep. And I get it because Triple H got hurt, but like that just all went away. And whatever. But with the storylines that they do invest in, it feels like you said, they are going a little bit deeper. They're now going back to Samoa Joe, home invasion of AJ Styles, things like that. The Dean Ambrose, you know what we did when the cameras were off, getting the audience intrigued into a little bit more of just that guy doesn't like that guy, or this girl doesn't like this girl. Even the Becky Lynch Charlotte, you know, hey, you took this away from me. I had to work for my shot, and you just came back and got the shot, and that's why I'm pissed at you. And so I agree. It is definitely a noticeable change. I think there needs to be tweaks made, but I agree. I like it. I am thankful for that as well.
Okay. What else, man? You got some. You seem like a guy who doesn't just stop when you're thinking. You don't just stop at one response to yourself. Seems like you come up with more than just one answer whenever you ask yourself a question. So you got some other things you're thankful for?
Yeah, and you know what I'm thankful for in 2018? That Impact Wrestling seems to have righted the ship and got back on course and is giving us a good product. Now, I'll say this with a caveat. I don't get the channel, so I'm not catching each and every episode. I'm catching highlights and, you know, packages that they're putting together, so it's their best stuff on YouTube. But I like what I see, right? So you have Brian Cage, you have Johnny Impact, you have LAX as the champions. Another badass woman, you got Tessa Blanchard as their Impact champion. Then you got other people which, you know, I don't know his status. It could be a shoot, could be a work. I think kind of it's a little bit of both. But Austin Aries, right? He was the champion, walked off, no-sold the Johnny Impact's finisher. We don't know what's up with that. I still think that's a work, but we'll see what happens. But I really like what they're giving us. Joe Henry and his fun little videos with my best friend, my friend, my friend, my best friend. And you got Grado, Eli Drake, and then you got new additions like Ethan Page. I like him. Haven't seen too much of him, but what I have seen, I liked. So I like that Impact Wrestling seems to have, got away with the who left WWE, come here and give it a second shot. They've gotten away from that a little bit, and they've invested in quote unquote homegrown talent. I know Johnny Impact and those people aren't homegrown, but they're not WWE tainted, I guess you could say. Tessa Blanchard, to me, I don't think of WWE. LAX, the new LAX, none of those, at least to best of my knowledge, are NXT or WWE guys. Brian Cage, obviously not a WWE person. So it's good that they have a roster here that I can invest in. It looks like Don Callis is, getting control over storylines and consistency, and I like what I see. Again, I don't get to see the product each and every week because it's on a channel that I don't get, but what I have seen, I've really enjoyed. So I'm thankful that it seems like Impact Wrestling is figuring it out.
I on your suggestion had tried to watch some of the Impact Wrestling and did like what I saw, and then thought, man, I'm gonna try to stay on top of this. And it's hard to do that, man, when you have little time. And the deal is, in something like wrestling, you gotta stick around long enough to catch the new storylines, because that's when you're gonna get invested, right? You catch it in the middle of a storyline, you're kind of like, yeah, all right, but I don't get it, right? So, and the thing is, I never just was able to put in that time. So I'm also thankful that you're able to watch all that and find all that content to talk about right here on the Spanish Announce Table that I was unable to.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, so you know what else I'm thankful for, Tom? It's quiz time here, Tom, on the Spanish Announce Table. Tom, you remember what my first thing I told you I was thankful for?
Storyline writing.
So that ties in well to the next thing I'm thankful for, and it's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's overarching storyline that, of course, probably even started before this year, but, just... this is what we're talking about here, right? Like, this is a long-running, interwoven, back and forth, like with twists and turns and plot twists, right? This is it, right? This is hitting a home run every time. And then the ability for them to spurn off of it and take something from it, right? And now do their own things and just be hitting that out of the park. I mean, it was an amazing run for these guys together, and they're still kind of going on it, and I'm sure it's just going to veer back into itself down the road here somewhere.
Yeah, I think their trilogy of matches on the NXT Takeover shows has been spectacular. I think that we're going to look back and realize how special this is, years down the road. I think we're going to go like, remember how great their last man standing match was. Remember how great their one-on-one, first match was. And the little details, and they're still going on with details, right? Tommaso Ciampa is saying how proud he is of Johnny Gargano going heel. So it's not as if they've forgotten about each other. They still mention each other as they move into different feuds. And so, yeah, I just love it. I think it's fantastic. The best storyline from, and it's not finished, but from start to air quotes finish, is Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. It's perfect.
Could that entire body of work that we just discussed, right? The Ciampa Gargano saga, right? Could all of it equal the immense greatness of the greatest match of all time, Melina versus Alicia Fox? Could it? Could we have the discussion? Could we have the discussion?
We could definitely discuss, but let's not be disrespectful.
Yeah, okay. You're right. It's Thanksgiving. Why would I be so disrespectful? All right, what else are you thankful for then? Let's get back on the positivity train.
I am thankful for, now, as you guys know, and girls, I do have the WWE Network, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
you pay for it.
I paid for it. I pay for it each and every week.
Right.
Now,
month.
Now, I am a follower of independent wrestling, but as I mentioned, I don't have the Impact channel. Some of the independent promotions I catch if the moments go viral, things like that, but I can't stay on top of it. But there's certain people that I like, right? Mm-hmm. There's even still certain people that haven't signed in WWE that I follow casually that I think are really great. Jeff Cobb comes to mention, right? or comes to mind. Obviously, Kenny Omega, all those guys. Not the Young Bucks, but the rest of them. I like a lot, right? Well, one of those guys that I would follow, he was in Progress. He was on some other independent circuits. I actually met him. I worked one of his last MMA fights before he went full-time pro wrestler. Name is Matt Riddle. And I am so thankful for the bro movement, bro, coming to NXT, right? I wanted to follow this more intently. I wanted to know the details. I wanted to see it flourish on my television screen. And now that Matt Riddle has signed to NXT, I have that capability at my disposal. It's a little bit easier now to follow it. I don't have to seek after and, download this website, find this app, put in my website, put in my email address, tell you my blood type and favorite color. Like, I can just follow it on WWE Network with NXT. Matt Riddle, as a keep gushing about him. I think he's awesome. I think he's already ready for the main roster. I think he's got the charisma. He's tough as nails. The MMA background, the surfer vibe is unique. It makes him stand out. I am so thankful that Matt Riddle is on NXT.
It's like Matthew McConaughey started wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was as if, it's like
Woody Harrelson
Kelly Slater.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Kelly Slater decided to become a professional fighter. That's what it would be like. And it's so cool. I just think he's awesome. Like I said, I think the whole bro, like, it's so cool to get that the dynamic of like, hey man, we don't have to fight, but if we do, I'm gonna win.
Well, yeah, nobody's ever really, done that, at least that I can recall, anywhere close to if they ever even really tried it. I mean, and he does it right, because you just totally believe that that's that guy. I mean, and it is. But so, I mean, yeah, it's done very well, for sure.
Yeah, he's the total package, because he's a guy that, like, he's good looking enough to steal your girl. He's tough to where he can kick the shit out of you, but then it's not like, it's almost like the thing where, it's almost like the thing where you're like, hey man, do something bad so I can hate you, and you're like, but you haven't. God dang it, you asshole! But then the bro thing, it just fits. He looks like a bro. He looks like a muscled up bro.
He's a bro. He's a muscled up bro. That's right. Yeah, I like that.
I love him. Fun. I think, like I said, I think he's main event ready. Not main event ready, main roster ready. I think he's awesome.
All right. Well, I'm Captain Awesome. And I'm awesome. And I
where are you going with this?
am awesomely thankful for something that I'm stalling here, right? Because I'm trying to make sure I word this in a way that's really not going to stall the heat that I'll probably get for this from some of the people. And remind you, #TweetTheTable on Twitter, or you can send hate mail directly to @TMac_816.
Easy.
I am thankful for the return of Roman Reigns' illness.
What? Jesus Christ, man.
Let me say why here, okay? All right. Remember, @TMac_816 for all your hate mail. It's 2018, the year of the new idea. And I'm thankful that this unfortunate incident that I feel sorry for Roman Reigns and his family has forced WWE to come up with new ideas. Right? Even if they're have this idea that, hey, Roman Reigns could come back from this, and we've said this, he could. Eric Berry, within a year, was back on the football field, right?
Yeah.
But even if they did, that made them go, well, crap, what if he's not, right? And it forced them to go, all right, well, what do we got to do, right? And you're starting to see some of that play out now. Listen, it's a bad thing, right? I'm not thankful that his illness has returned, but I'm thankful that his illness returning has forced WWE to finally realize that 2018 is the year of the new idea. So right before the year's in, they're going to figure it out. They should have listened to us the whole time, right?
Well, they definitely should have listened to us.
Right, especially me. And send all that hate mail to @TMac_816.
At the awesome voice. Jeez. This guy.
Ooh, man, are you hot? Is it hot in the studio
Yeah,
here?
it's uncomfortably hot.
We're here
I like
in
that
this.
you got the heat this episode, not me. I feel like I was the straight man and you were the heat magnet. I like it.
I feel like if
Role
Andy
reversal.
Anderson is listening, he's going to throw me a bone and he's going to @TMac_816 and give you a right working over for this one, right? I mean, he's going to really be like, dude, are you serious? How dare you? So, if you're listening, Andy, hey, man, I love you. We miss you, man. We sat there at the bar and we had some drinks. It was a good time. We should do that again, man. Tom's never done that with you.
Because I haven't had the option, you jerk.
He hasn't made the time for you. He hasn't made the time for you.
All
So
right.
remember, @TMac_816 on the Twitter on that hate, man. But it is Thanksgiving, right, everybody? And it's the year of the new idea. So before this year is over, think of some new ideas that you can play out in 2019. And remember to be thankful for what is here in the here and now in 2018 and where you're headed and where you've been and those around you. Like the Spanish Announce Table. We're here. We've been, that's another thing I'm thankful for. Yeah, bonus, Tom. The return of the Spanish Announce Table.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like our new format. I like the clean cut in and out. It's not exhausting or laboring or droning. At least that's what I think.
Right.
So I really like this version 2.0 of the Spanish Announce Table.
Right. Yes, me too. All right, well, then we need to take a break. So I got to get out of here and do some stuff around the house and, prepare for Thanksgiving and all that. So we'll just come back next week with 237, I think, of the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, Shinsuke Nakamura holds the record for the longest IWGP Intercontinental Championship reign, as well as most title reigns. Happy Turkey Day.
The Spanish Announce Table.